A mayor's state of the city address, should I say, is normally a routine affair in which the elected office holder outlines the progress that's been made over the past year. Not so this week in Kansas City for Mayor Sly James, who makes national news as a man bolts on stage and interrupts his annual address before being tackled to the ground by the mayor's security detail. Take a look.
Those early efforts resulted in $5 billion in investment.
This man just got through talking about exactly what he ain't did.
Well, that was unfortunate.
You were there, Lynn Horsley. What was the motivation behind this?
Well, this gentleman says that he wanted to call attention to the fact that the city has not done as much for the east side of Troost Avenue as it has for the west side of Troost Avenue, that there's disparity in the support that the city gives to east side neighborhoods. Unfortunately, the way he brought his message only accentuated how troubled that area is. The mayor was trying to highlight positive news in 18th and Vine, and all that happened is this highlighted how troubled that area remains.
Okay, who is the man?
His name is Deron Black. He ran unsuccessfully for the Missouri House. He was jailed and charged with essentially with disorderly conduct. He did apologize and said that he later realized his method was not very appropriate, and especially the way he behaved was not a good example for other young people. You know, it really stepped all over the mayor's message, in which he was trying to actually highlight some of the good that is going on east of Troost.
A lot of concern this week, Sam, about the security of the mayor in all of this too. I mean, he's doing this not at City Hall, where there are metal detectors. He is doing this at the Gem Theatre in the 18th and Vine Jazz District.
Yeah, but you know, the difference between the mayor and I read some of this, that, well, how you secure the president or even maybe of a governor. But you know what? The mayor has to be accessible. Maybe not this accessible, but clearly you just can't rope him off from everybody else. I will tell you, when I saw the video, the first thing I thought was, well, you know what? Some people write op-eds, some people do this. And you know, I was with some, working on a story last night with some people from the east side, and you know what? They truly believe that they have been forgotten, even by Mayor James, and good things in fact are happening, but you know, the perception still on the east side is that they have been forgotten.
Is that the case, Bill Grady?
I don't think if you ask the mayor that, he would say that's the case, because there are some things that are in the works, and one is the East Patrol campus, and the feeling by the mayor and actually a number of residents and pastors and so forth in the area is that that's going to spark a revitalization, because it's going to bring a lot of people in that wouldn't be there, and there will be some ancillary benefits. There are an awful lot of vacant houses on the east side, and the mayor has talked about that, but he really hasn't given any specifics as to what he's going to do about it. He drove the crane last spring. I think you were there when he took down one or two houses. But that is a big, big problem, because they become drug houses and nests of crime and that kind of thing. So there is a whole lot of frustration, and you know, as Lynn said, the city is trying to put a positive light on it. A lot to be done.
You know, the urban core has been disintegrating for 3 decades, and I'm not sure that you can expect Mayor James to turn that around in the 2 years that he's been in office. They are going to take back control of their housing department. They're trying to get the Beacon Hill area under revitalization, and that's just taken for decades. I understand the frustration. I think the manner in which this gentleman chose to express it probably just convinced a lot of people who might be interested in investing in the urban core or getting involved in the urban core. It may have just convinced them that that area is too troubled and it's not worth our time and effort.
We were getting a lot of calls this week from some of our viewers saying, amen, we're going to be raising some beer money for him, in fact. We actually got viewers saying this to us, that he was representing their voice. But this was not the only disruption that he made at some civic events. This gentleman has been involved in disrupting other events in Kansas City, too.
And he apparently is going to run for mayor, or now says he may want to run for mayor. You know, Nick, what Lynn said is exactly right about, and Bill and Sam as well, about the long-term problems on the east side. There is, however, we should talk a little bit about specific concerns about Jermaine Reed, who's the 3rd District council person. That also came up during the reaction to this incident. As long as I've covered politics in Kansas City, there has been anger over the 3rd District City Council representative on the City Council, the whole list, Carol Coe, you just go down the list. That's largely because the 3rd District is more reliant than any other district in Kansas City on the government. I mean, it depends on the government, not just the police and fire, but housing and other things. And so the decisions of the 3rd District council person are critical in terms of extending services to the constituents in that district. Sadly, and I don't want to cast any aspersions on Jermaine, I haven't covered him that closely, but the reality is the district representatives from the 3rd District have not always been of the highest caliber. Sandra McFadden Weaver, for example, was a 3rd District councilwoman, that type of thing. So what you did see this week, the tactics were reprehensible and regrettable, but there is frustration with City Hall in that part of the city. There has been for many, many years, and that doesn't seem like it's getting addressed.
Okay, back to the gentleman concerned. Is he going to run for mayor, Lynn Horsley?
Well, as of noon yesterday, he said he wasn't. As of 5 p.m., he said he was. The mayor's race is 2 years away. We'll have to see.
Okay, is the mayor going to have a beefed-up security detail as a result of this? Is there going to be any changes?
Initially, he has not. His security detail reacted very promptly, and I think the mayor was thrilled and full of praise for how they handled it. Inevitably, I think there will be some distance. We may not see quite the level of access that people have. I think there will be some rethinking, but as Sam said, you can't wall the mayor off from his community.
Yeah, just quickly, after there was an attempt on Jay Nixon in Kansas City, someone tried to stab him.
At Penn Valley Community College.
The security for him did get tighter. You can see it now everywhere he goes. He has far more highway patrol officers with him than he did before, and it is harder to approach the governor than it was before that incident.
And all of this got sucked up all of the attention, of course, and we forgot entirely that it was a State of the City address. So, the mayor spent, I'm assuming, weeks carefully crafting a message that got lost entirely.
Exactly.
What was the State of the City then, Lynn?
Well,
you were there.
He said it was strong. I mean, we had the All-Star game.
We expected that, yes.
We had the All-Star game last year. I think everybody felt like that went beautifully. We're hosting some major basketball tournaments right now that are getting a lot of fans and are attracting a lot of support. The mayor is trying to address the city's appalling homicide rate, poor schools. There's incremental improvements in that regard. We've made progress with the housing. There are some developments. The downtown streetcar appears to be starting to go. So, it's a work in progress, obviously.
What could he point to as his the biggest success, do you think, over the last 12 months, Bill Grady?
I think it would be a lot of what Lynn said, and he has been a great cheerleader for the city in terms of getting out there on the cutting edge and trying to attract businesses. And now we have La Raza coming in 2015, and so there's not any one single thing I think that you can point to. Now, what I can tell you is that the mayor is concerned that although All-Star, the Big 12, all those things that brought business, he is still very concerned that we don't have a convention center hotel. And he told me as of St. Patrick's Day, there are about 2 or 3 proposals on the table now. He wouldn't go much further, but he says we're closer now than we were in 5 years.
We do have a lot of other topics, but I didn't think there was any money for a convention center hotel.
There isn't. There isn't. So it'll have to be very, very creative.
Okay, quickly, what is the biggest challenge then that he still faces after, from the time of last year's State of the City address?
Crime in schools.
And those still haven't been fixed.
Exactly.
I do think he also faces problems with pensions for city workers. That remains on the table. That's a huge cost that hasn't really been settled as much as it has. And he did take a ding or two for his handling of the JJ's incident. Let's make sure we talk a little bit about that, because I think he was very aggressive in sort of making public statements that he may now regret. So one of the lessons he may have learned in the last year is to take a little bit more time when he addresses the public.